Hey there, and hello. And welcome once again to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm David Bowles, and today the show is a celebration because after 50 years of arguing this case in rehearsal rooms, I have finally argued it in a book. This show has always been about how humans make and carry meaning, and this book is about the one place left where meaning is still made in person, with no recording running. The book is called The Occupied Space, 60 Years After the Empty Space, and it is out now, in Kindle, in paperback, and as a free PDF you can download and keep. Let me set the scene the way the century set it. The year is 1968. A thin book appears, written by the most celebrated stage director alive, Peter Brook, and it opens with a sentence the theater memorized like scripture. Take any empty space and call it a bare stage. A man walks across that space while someone watches him, and that is all the theater needs to be. 4 essays follow, 4 names the field still teaches to every student: the deadly theater, the holy theater, the rough theater, the immediate theater. I read that book young. I taught it. And for 50 years I kept walking into the rooms it described and noticing the same stubborn fact. The floor was never bare. Somebody owns it, somebody polices it, and somebody pays for it. And the figure who crosses that floor can die while crossing it. And the room knows. That knowledge is the whole book. The Occupied Space is a prosecution, conducted with open admiration for the defendant. I put the most quoted stage doctrine of its century on trial, and I do it under one strict rule: 0 quotation. Peter Brook is paraphrased on every page and quoted on none, because the argument should stand without borrowing a sentence from the man it answers. His genius is stipulated in the opening pages, on the record, and then the trial begins. 12 chapters and a coda. Part 1 walks the occupied ground, Part 2 hands down the verdict, and Part 3 builds the answer. And the prosecution is fair. It opens the trial by naming what the 1968 book got right, and it keeps 4 of his instruments sharpened. Because a case that concedes nothing convinces nobody. And the hinge of the whole case is his own footnote. Casting about for hope, his book observes that the best English playwrights of his moment, Osborne, Wesker, Arden, Pinter, every one of them, directed and acted and commanded rooms. He gathered the evidence for my doctrine, printed it, and ruled against it on the next page. Chapter 9 prints that footnote at the size it always deserved. And because doctrine without practice is just weather, Chapter 12 spends a full working day inside the answer, from the 10 o'clock coffee to the God mic at the back of the house. And it closes on the shortest cue in the theater. His 4 words get answered with 3. Against repetition, representation, and assistance, I set sovereignty, presence, witness. And at the center of the book sits one engraved sentence, the definition I will defend anywhere, and I want you to hear it whole. Theater is the art that requires someone who can die, present on a shared clock, in a room that keeps no copy. This case never started in a library. My first paid byline arrived when I was 10 years old, in Lincoln, Nebraska. The Dramatists Guild took me in 1984. The doctrine went up on the marquee in 1985. 3 words: playwrights must direct. It went online in 1995, and it has never come down. United, we write and direct. Divided, we write. The book also pays a debt that is personal to me. A full chapter goes to the language his book couldn't find, Because in a book about the theater's future, the words sign language appear 0 times. Chapter 7 gives that silence its history. From the Congress of Milan in 1880, which banned sign from deaf education across 2 continents, to William Stokoe proving in 1960 that American Sign Language is a complete natural language, and it credits the scholar who trained my eyes, Janice Sweeney, my collaborator of 30 years. And underneath the modern argument, the ancients hold the ground floor. The Athenian records never said a poet wrote a play. The inscription said Edidaxin. He taught it. Aeschylus drilled his own choruses and chose the soldier of Marathon for his epitaph. Molière ran his troupe, cast it, financed it, and died hours after playing his own lead. For 25 centuries, the maker held the room. And if you never set foot in a theater, this book is still about your room, because the occupied space is everywhere now. It is every place where somebody makes a thing and somebody else claims custody of its meaning. The book tracks the censor across that whole map. The Lord Chamberlain licensed the British stage from 1737 to 1968. One office, one nation, and a banned play could always cross the water and open in Paris. The examiner who replaced him has a global parish, one policy governing speech in every country where the app opens, and there is no Paris left to open in. And beneath all of it, one free room survives. A sentence spoken unrecorded to a live house violates no terms of service on earth, because it never enters territory the terms govern. The theater is the last space that keeps no copy. Every performance is an edition of one. The night you attend exists once for the people in that room on that clock, and it cannot be backed up, streamed later, or scraped. In an age that archives everything, the unarchivable hour is the rarest thing on earth. That is worth defending, and this book is the defense. Written with joy, because the room I am defending is the happiest place I know. So here is where you find it. The occupied space, 60 years after the empty space is available now. Kindle and paperback at Amazon, and the free PDF edition at bowlesbooks.com alongside every book in the catalog. The Living Doctrine, including a current costing for mounting a first production of your own, stays posted at unitedstage.com, where it has stood since 1995. 60 years ago, a man crossed an empty stage while somebody watched, and a great book called that Crossing the Whole Art. Tonight, the author crosses it, sets the room himself, and takes a seat at the back rail, as the doors open and the house floods in. The trial is called Your Seat on the Jury is Waiting. The house is open, the stage is claimed, and the word, the only cue the sovereign room ever needed, is go. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm David Bowles, wishing you a full evening and a more fulfilling tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Be a human meme.